Hi, I'm Laura Tompkins, and I am the mom of Connor. He is 4 years old and he has cystic fibrosis. Connor also has an older brother, Jackson, who just turned 7, and a dad named Colin, who is a software developer at Microsoft. And we are a happy little family of 4 with some really involved grandparents and fun aunties and cousins to play with. Connor was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis when he was 5 weeks old. He was born and we somehow forgot between us and the hospital to do his newborn screen, which is really unusual, and it was a little bit of an oversight. But when he was about 2.5 weeks old, his doctor mentioned to me that she was still waiting for the results of his newborn screen. And at that time, we discovered that he hadn't actually done it yet. So we took him to do his newborn screen. It came back with a marker that he might have cystic fibrosis. We weren't supposed to worry yet because that can happen. And unfortunately, he repeated his newborn screen, and that too had a marker that he had cystic fibrosis. We entered this time of lots of worrying and scheduled him at Seattle Children's Hospital for a sweat test, which is kind of the gold standard test for cystic fibrosis. And at that time, he took a sweat test, and within just about 2 hours, the results came back positive. And he was 5 weeks old, and we knew then that he had CF. Recently, when Connor was about 3.5, we were on a family vacation in Hawaii, and I'm not exactly sure what he and his older brother, Jackson, were talking about, but Connor, out of nowhere, just started crying and told me that he didn't want to die. Apparently, his brother had told him that he has cystic fibrosis and that if he doesn't do his treatments, that he could die. That was really hard to hear out of my 3.5-year-old's mouth. We've been talking about CF and how important medications and treatments are from birth, really. But I would say that was pretty much the first time that Connor asked me so directly and came to me with really big concerns. Connor takes, I haven't counted, a lot of different medications and does a few different treatments a day. So he takes some medications. I mean, he's on like an allergy med just to kind of help. He's got a few seasonal allergies as well. He's got 2 different inhalers for his asthma. Every day he does 30 minutes of his respiratory therapy vest, which is this device that kind of shakes out the mucus lining his lungs. So he does that in the morning and in the evening when he's well. He does it 4 times a day when he's ill.
No, I'm gonna do 5. No, hey, you can't sit down here.
Connor is on a clinical trial right now for a medication that's approved for children over 6 years old with his mutation types. Connor's only 4, so it's in the clinical trial phases. He also nebulizes hypertonic saline, which is just salt water. But some studies have found that it helps kind of loosen the mucus, and it also kind of irritates so that you cough that mucus out. He does that twice a day. He nebulizes Pulmozyme once a day in the evening, and he takes his enzymes with every single meal. In addition to that, we teach Connor how to do lots of exercising. It's really important for him to maintain good health. We try to think about things that'll help shake out that mucus. One of his very favorite exercise routines is jumping on our very large trampoline in the backyard.
Can you say what's on your shirt?
Connor's Cure Finder.
Can you tell me about that?
Well, So we have like this big walk where like all his friends and the people who care about him want to get his cure out. And basically it's like good exercise for Connor to get his it helps him so he won't be able to do his best. Because when he like jumps or like walks and run, it like you don't have to do his best that long.
Oh yeah, so it is helpful for him to do that?
Connor has the most common set of mutations of all of the folks who have cystic fibrosis. So when you've got cystic fibrosis, you get two mutated genes. One from, your biological mother, one from your biological father. And those make up your gene mutations. Connor got the most common mutated gene from me and the most common mutated gene from his dad. And so about 50% of the CF population has this delta F508 mutation. So it's the most common, but it's also one of the more severe mutations of cystic fibrosis. And even within those two mutations, as I said, about 50% of the CF population has those same two set of genes. Connor seems to be on the more severe end. He just seems to have more trouble than others within his same mutation family. There's always, two ends of the spectrum, and he just happens to fall on the more severe end. He's had a few different hospitalizations by this time. He needs a lot of extra calories just to maintain his pretty low weight. And he needs a lot of meds and a lot of therapies to keep him as healthy as possible.
You're free!
Yay! With cystic fibrosis in your life, you are working with life, and you are also working with this terrible time thief. It's hours and hours a day of treatment and so many more when ill. And the biggest challenge for us is just maintaining a really good medication and treatment protocol while balancing things like school and swimming, seeing family and friends, and playing.